market update here on the 12th. So I'm going to start this video off a little bit different. I'm going to do coin today, down 7.35%. I personally had, let's see, the other day I had I think I talked about in the video, I had a 150 call, still holding that actually. I remember I said I missed selling that yesterday, unfortunately, and I'm still holding that because we're going to get a bounce here soon. But I had two 140 puts. I took full profit on those today, and I'm still holding my three sold puts for 130 for 216. So a month out at 130, and I got that just from this daily demand zone right here. That's kind of where I wanted to sell it, and that's exactly where we're at right now. And so zooming out on this chart now, I think there's two different ways this can play out. I'm not sure which one. There's some Elliott wave guys. One second. Actually, a guy who's really good at Elliott wave, and he has this actually as a 5-wave move. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but his count is this, which is kind of weird, but he thinks this is going to happen. So I'm watching that count just because that guy's pretty good overall, but I don't necessarily agree with him yet. For me to get into that that possibility, I would want to see this invalidate 115. So 115 is kind of invalidation. You can see here I have 5 waves still. This is a 3rd wave. You can see here that we crossed the parallel line here at the very top, barely. And now we're retracing, and we're right around the 0.38 fib. So really, Tuesday is going to tell us what's going to happen with this stock. We are right at the 0.38 fib. We're in demand right now. And so looking at it now on smaller time frames, here, if this is 5 waves, this would be the count. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'd be in a 5th wave right now. And we'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd be in the 5th wave. It might even be finished. Depending on if you go through all the waves, it could be finished. However, what makes me hesitant to say it's finished is we finished right below the 50 DMA. So that is a bearish finish, and the 200 is down to 87 bucks. So we're in demand below the 50 DMA, could be 5 waves. It could also be, depending on how you look at this, it could also be an ABC move quickly and be a 4th wave like I just showed you. And my target for that would be 122. So basically right above the invalidation level, 122.66, I would barely go past the demand zone. And after that, I would expect it to go all the way to I would expect it to go much higher. I don't know about 300, but I would expect it to go much higher. I will say that the timeline for this being an impulse move makes a lot more sense with the overall market, because if we're going to have Bitcoin shopping here for, let me zoom out on Bitcoin. So on Bitcoin, if this is a 5-wave move, the 2nd wave took 5 months, and we still haven't had a red candle on this yet. So we need a red candle on the weekly. And for this 4th wave, I'm looking for it to pull back to 39,347 minimum, and then it can go higher. And so if we look at this on smaller time frames, again, it's clearly an ABC move. So we got A, B, C. So I guess if it's a smaller ABC move and we go higher after this, then coin would be in a 4th wave because it would go higher as well. But if we get on Bitcoin, if we get something like I don't know. Actually, now I'm looking at Bitcoin. I think this is pretty bullish the way it's moving. This is definitely a B wave, and we're making a C wave here. So with that being said, it looks like just accumulation going on right here. C wave down, but they could stretch this out all the way to March, like I said. So we might be getting A, and then get a B wave out into February, and then get a C wave down into March. So it might just be in a holding pattern for a couple of months. If that's the case, then we'll see what happens with coin. Maybe coin bounces back. It's going to bounce back either way soon. But is it going to be a 5-wave move, or is this an ABC move? I'm leaning towards ABC. Like I said, I'm being aware of the potential of this being a 5-wave move down. If it's, we'll find out in the next move, I guess. So if it's an impulse move, the next move, then obviously it is a 4th wave. This second wave also took about 3.5 months, and this has only been like 12 days. So we might be getting a flat or something too. We could be getting something like this over the next couple of months if Bitcoin's in a holding pattern. So we'll see on this. And then going into Mara, which got destroyed the last couple of days. Let's see, I had $20 puts, I think, or $22 puts that I made a bunch of money on, but I also sold some puts in the low 20s. I think 5 contracts, and I sold some at 17 as well. That was all based on this weekly demand zone right here, starting at 18. I sold a little bit higher, I guess, but 18.35 all the way down here to 13.40. I have my other ones, the majority of them are right around this area. And so at the end of the day today, I hedged those again and bought more puts for the 26th. I bought $15 puts. The reason I bought those is because you can see here, this move right here, it can be wave 1, could be wave A. Either way, I see it. This took about 7 days. This took 8 days. I'm looking for something into OPEX next week for this to play out and potentially going all the way down here to the 1.61 fib, which is sitting here around 1566. So my puts are for the 26th. Those should pay out pretty good. I will be holding a bag on those sold puts, but my thinking is this is not a 5-wave move. Here's the overall structure, in my opinion. I think that this was ABC, pullback ABC, and then we're currently made A. This took 2 months and 21 days. You can see I have it right here. So I'm looking for this to take 2 months and 21 days. That takes us to like late March. Same thing with Bitcoin. So I think accumulation is going on. I think that after the ETFs were issued, that's when they sell. They're just trying to, they short it, and then they want to accumulate down at lower prices. And that's what's going on right now. As soon as that happened, everything just started selling off. So I personally think they will probably bottom next week on Mara here in weekly demand and then bounce out of it. Not sure where it will go out of weekly demand. But then I'd be looking for a C wave down here, potentially to this gap fill here at 1364. Still in weekly demand. And then after that, I'll show you what I'm thinking. Potentially 58 bucks. Whoops. Get this going again. Okay. Turn this off. Okay. So, the 1.61 fib, like I was talking about right here, if this is W, you can't go past the 1.61 fib. This goes all the way up here to $63. If you just take the parallel line like this, we're looking at 47. So 47 to 63 bucks. The 1.61 fib of A is going to be higher, I bet. Yeah, it's a little bit higher. We can't go to 77 in my opinion if this is the right structure. So let's just put this here and just see where it takes us. So 16.10, or potentially all the way down here to about 12 bucks. So I'm looking for anywhere between 12 and like 16 bucks to be the bottom. And that's also in weekly demand. And then after that, probably in like March, I would be looking for a 5-wave move to complete this, maybe in like May or July. And then if we zoom out here, it's not good for the miners after that. So I'm looking for this to be wave 1. We're currently in wave B. Sometime in 2025, potentially coming all the way down here to this gap fill at like 1 or 2 bucks. So you can see if Bitcoin sells off again, then yeah, it's going to, I guess this potentially could be the same structure and become down here to $15,000. I originally thought it was a impulse move, and same with coin, but then Mara looks a little bit different. So they're all kind of a little bit different, but overall, I'm still bullish on them unless this turns out to be an impulse move down. If it's an impulse move down, then I'm looking for getting rid of my position on the retrace and then shorting, pretty much. So that's kind of an explanation of what I think is going to happen over the next 2 or 3 months. We're probably going to be in a holding pattern, or we're going to start selling off. I'm guessing holding pattern until late March. And that kind of matches up with the overall market too. So getting into Tesla, obviously everyone saw the onslaught. Tesla just straight down every single day. Yeah, I've been getting destroyed too, because it's hard to go full delta neutral. Like I normally would go delta neutral, but I don't really know the count on this. The count is very ambiguous, and it's really annoying because it's just not, it's hard to tell where it's at. And even on lower time frames, like you'll see right here, this looks like it's probably a B wave. And so I could imagine that we come up here higher, maybe early on Tuesday, and then we sell off again. It could also be gap down below the 200 DMA, but the main thing is we held the 200 DMA on the weekly. So I was watching that going into the close to see how much I needed to hedge, and we held that. So we did go below it, but we finished above it. So that was important. I still am hedging a little bit, sold some calls even low at this low price, because if it were to gap below this and somehow stay below this early next week, it could come all the way down here to 207, and that would be really bad, but I don't want to have no hedges going on right now. So it's kind of a hard spot really overall. You're really oversold, but it keeps on gapping down. And so I still want to have some hedges on, but I don't want to be fully hedged, because if it does bounce back, I don't want my hedges to be down a bunch either. So I'm kind of playing the percentages. I'm like, I got a few puts, and then I got a few sold calls. We are way below the Bollinger Band now. 20 DMA is way up here on the weekly. We are also towards the end of the Bollinger Band on the weekly. 20's up here as well. So ideally we bounce into earnings, and if that happens, I'd be looking for something probably all the way up here to 247. That's weekly supply, that's 4-hour supply. That would fill all the gaps. There's a small possibility that this is some kind of corrective move, and that's why I can't read it very well, because we did retrace to the 0.61 fib. If that's the case, then we're ready to go. But I have my doubts just based on what the overall market's probably going to do. But I'll watch that count and just see. Still expecting a bounce here soon, probably into earnings, and then probably sell off. The most likely scenario is this right here that I showed in the last video. Probably something like this. And it's probably going to be quicker than that. It's probably going to be like February. This is too far out. So something like this. like that. And then after that, if that were to happen into March, just like everything else, selling off like crazy, then you're gonna have to watch out, because this could end up being this is also a possibility now. This is kind of ridiculous, but it is a possibility. I don't think so, but you never know. And that would probably happen a lot quicker than that, but that would just mean that this is an A wave, this is a B wave. I don't think so, though. I think this is the end of the fourth wave right here. So I'm leaning towards this being a first wave up, not an ABC move like I showed in the last video. On a regular chart, you can see 5 waves. And so if this is a second wave, it has to retrace to minimum of 174. So I'd be looking for something probably in this area. You got a bunch of gaps down here. But short terms, all that really matters. I'm just waiting for that green candle. Can we get a green candle on the daily next week? Something back up here into supply. And then after that, if it's a corrective move, I'm shorting. If it's an impulse move, then I'm going to let it go. And let's hope it's an impulse move and I'm completely wrong and it goes to new highs. Are there any other possibilities? I'm trying to think. I don't think there's that many possibilities left, because I'll show you QQQ here in a second. I do think that, like I showed you, it's the most likely scenario down here to 160, 170. So let's get into QQQ and just show you kind of the difference, or show you what I'm expecting from QQQ. So we obviously had this move right here. That was an expanded flat, like I talked about. And then we get this ambiguous move right here. I think that this is a W wave. This is an X wave. And I think there's a good chance we go to 420. So this, I'll show you. We might even, I think we're finished with the X wave. This is an ABC move right here. So ABC, and then this was 5 waves. So I have it labeled 1. I think early on Tuesday, we're going to fall down here to at least 407, maybe like 406, 405, something like that. And then I think we're just going to make this move into earnings. That's my personal thoughts on it. And then that is going to end up being basically an expanded flat. So somewhere up around here at 420. If you take it from the top right here, or the bottom right there, then you're looking at, yeah, exactly like 420. And I saw some phantom prints around that area too. So just based on this structure, ABC, impulse move, it can't be AB. So that's probably a wave 1, wave 2, all the way up here. So probably early on Tuesday, if this falls, I'll probably buy some calls with stop below the low and hope for a move up to 420. That should be enough for Tesla to retrace potentially up to 240, maybe even 250. That would be a pretty big move at this point. It'd be a 10% move, but it's due for it. I mean, it's down 265 to 218. So I'm looking for that on QQQ, and then that will end up being a expanded flat. So the 1.61 fib of the W wave is also around 420. So then you're looking at a move down here to finally the phantom print that I've been looking at 391. This took about 15 days. So this would probably take all the way into earnings. So 22nd, 23rd, like that. And then we sell off down here to the phantom print, potentially lower. This could end up being the end of the downtrend. This could be, let's say we go to 420, we can go all the way down here to 380, which I've been originally talking about, 378. If we go to 423, where's the max? So if I measure it from the top here, I think it's like 423. I'm just curious where the max move is. Basically it goes to 378, which is the daily demand zone. But weekly is right here, so maybe this will be it too. This could be it right here, 393 to 383. And that's pretty much what I'm expecting. Apple, so Apple potentially a 5-way move ended right here. If that's the case, then I would be looking for a retrace to the gap fill. So that would give it about a 3-4% move over the next couple of weeks up here to 192. And then I'd be looking for this to happen. So I'd be looking for 170 bounce and then probably down here to the gap fill at 157. So if that happens, then you're probably looking at QQQ being like this basically, A, bouncing and then coming down here even farther than this. So that's what I see, and then I'm looking for a move higher after that. And you can see on Apple we have the structure here, A, B, C, and then going higher. So after February or March, I put a video out like a week ago talking about this. I'm looking for a parabolic move. Let's look at the dollar now. They're all matching up right now basically. So the dollar is bouncing, but again, not even close to being finished. Come up here, pull back, and then probably sometime in March we get up here to like 105, and then that's when we start falling off. Don't know what the catalyst is going to be for the dollar to fall that much, but that's what I see in the chart. So that's pretty much it for today. I'm not going to go over all the tech stocks right now in the videos, sitting at the high, just going straight up. Let me know what you think in the comments about the crypto stocks. Do you think that they're going to go to new all-time highs this year? Do you think Tesla is going to go up to new all-time highs here later in the year? Or do you think it's going to fall below 200 and potentially go to 100? That's it for me. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe. Catch you in the next video.